everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm so glad you are here today. If you are new, I'm Nicole and I share scrapbook process videos and crafty inspiration. Today I'm working on a single page layout using the Winter Meadows Designer Series paper from Stampin Up. This paper is absolutely gorgeous. It's filled with snowy scenes, soft winter foliage, and those cool tones that perfectly capture the winter vibe. I just love that mix of icy blues, cool grays, and those beautiful tealy shades. They remind me of frozen mountain lakes, you know, when the water's calm and the ice is just almost like that glassy shimmer look. Even though the weather's warming up here where I live, winter is still holding on. So I thought I'd create a few more winter layouts while I'm still feeling inspired. I have plans for another layout with this paper collection soon, so stay tuned for that. For this layout, I'm documenting 2 pictures. This one measures 4 by 5 1/4. And the smaller one measures 3 by 3 3/4. I've actually had this project sitting on my desk for a while now. With all the new shiny products coming out, this one kind of got pushed to the side. Does anybody else do that? Anyway, the photos are of my boys skating. Well, they're wearing skates. Now these pictures are really not the best quality. But there's a bigger story behind them and I really want to document this and I'll share it with you as we go along. I chose these 2 pattern papers because they complement the colors in my photos so perfectly. The trees in my pictures have this bluish tint, and when I saw the paper with the blue trees and snowy hills, I just felt like it was the perfect match. I'm going to start with basic white cardstock to build my foundation on. I want to create kind of a layered look with the trees on the top going down to this blue paper and then white at the bottom. So the first thing I'm going to do is trim the blue paper down to 7.5 inches and then cut the tree paper to about 3 inches. I'm leaving both pieces the full 12 inches wide. Then I'm going to tear the paper towards me to reveal the white edge. And I'll repeat this on both sides to add some texture. Now this blue paper I chose because not only does this have a nice watercolor look to it that reminds me kind of clouds, I love also the variation in all the hues of blue. It gives off this beautiful, dreamy night sky vibe, which is exactly what made me think of these pictures because I think it mirrors the colors of the night sky perfectly. And when documenting nighttime photos, that is something that I look for, coordinating but not matching the colors in the background. So the pictures I printed for this layout are from November in 2019. Now I don't scrapbook in chronological order and I usually let the paper decide which photos I document. And like I said, as soon as I saw this paper, it made me think of these photos. Does that ever happen to any of you guys? You just find the perfect paper and everything clicks? So I'm tearing just a small strip from the top and the bottom of this paper. I'm trying to keep the edges straight. To keep it neat, I like to tear small sections at a time with my fingers close together so I can control the rip a bit better. Now I actually took these pictures from my car. I was driving very slowly, almost not moving at all, because to my surprise, the boys were skating on our driveway. Yep, boys, right? So I'll go ahead and layer these pieces back together to see how that looks. I like it. For my title, I'm using this alphabet stamp from Close to My Heart, along with the alphabet a la mode dies from Stampin Up. I hope you all managed to grab this during the celebration last month. It was one of the free items with a qualifying purchase. If you missed it, don't worry. I believe it will be restocked to purchase right away here. I placed mine on these magnetic sheets, but they actually don't come like this. Just the FYI. I really love how slim these letters are. They fit perfectly in smaller places, which is super helpful. I'm going to spell out ice rink first using the dies. Then I'll use the other letters to stamp out driveway above it. So the title will read Driveway Ice Rink. I know, fitting, right? I've decided to use Night of Navy cardstock for the die cut letters. Now, this is not one of the coordinating colors in this paper collection, but I really like the contrast, and it actually pulls in the color of the trees in the background on my pictures. All my letters should fit nicely on this scrap of cardstock. Another great thing about this die set, it includes duplicate letters, so I won't have to run the eye through my die cutting machine twice. Yay for that! Now I'm still deciding what color to stamp the rest of my title in, but let's move on to another area of the page while I think about it. I'm going to mat my photos on the Night of Navy cardstock. I really like the way it looks against the blue background paper. I really like that contrast. Also, my son's coat is bright green. And since the photos were taken during sunset and from my car, you can't really see his coat that well. So I want to bring more attention to the subjects in the photo. I'm going to add an additional green mat. This will help bring out those brighter colors. Now, normally a bright coat like this would be something I would try and tone down so it doesn't overpower the rest of the pictures. But in this case, that pop of green really helps the subjects stand out and draws your eye to them. I hope that makes sense, but of course, this is just my take on it. Now that I've introduced the Night of Navy color to the bottom of the layout with my title, I want to bring it to the top as well. And I'm thinking of adding a small strip of the navy cardstock between the two layers here. Yeah, I really like that. It just pulls everything together. I have a bunch of sprigs and branches cut out of the golden greenery dies. I had them already cut from a previous project, so I thought maybe I could use some of these as embellishment. I also grabbed some items from the Joyful Images ephemera pack. This pack is unfortunately no longer available, but I do like these trees and maybe the skates here and even some more greenery from it. They could be perfect for adding those little touches. Off camera, I added another strip of the Night of Navy cardstock between the white and the torn edge to give more definition. I also placed some washi tape across my letters to keep them together and prevent any shifting. I also spent some time off camera looking through my stash. I wanted to bring in a piece of pattern paper to help tie in that green that I added to the layout. And I found the perfect DSP from a suite called Twitter Pated. This is a very old Stampin Up paper pack, but it has all the right colors. It has red, blue, and green. I'm going to replace the navy strip that I added earlier with this pattern. Just adding an inch of this paper will help pull all the colors of the cardstock together nicely. I really love these trees from the ephemera pack, so I'm going to add them beside the picture here. I know I want to create an embellishment cluster in this area. Now that I've introduced green, I really want to introduce some red. My son Aiden's plaid coat here is red, so I think I'm going to use real red to stamp the rest of my title. But if I do that, I want to bring in more pops of red throughout the layout. So again, I went through my stash and found these house-shaped stickers from an older sticker sheet. I'm really stash busting today. Since these pictures were taken at our house, I thought, why not use these up? And they're all the right colors too. So I want to create clusters on either side of the layout in a diagonal line, kind of like this. That looks really cute. To help this cluster stand out, I turned to the Spotlight of Nature dies from Stampin' Up and cut out a circle. This one looks like tire treads or, like the lines on a road, which I thought would be perfect for this layout. It also helps create a bit of white space up here to balance out the white space from the bottom of the layout. It's all about finding that visual balance. I really like this stamp set from close to my heart called Later Skater. It's so perfect for boy layouts. I love the grungy look of some of the stamps have. I already stamped this sentiment, I do my own stunts, on a piece of white cardstock using Pecan pie ink. This will work perfect over here on this layout because this house on this sticker is brown. That way I can repeat the color on this cluster down here. I'm thinking of stamping No Fear in navy ink on this circle. While I'm at it, I'm going to go ahead and stamp the rest of my title too. I know my head is probably going to get in the way of the camera, so I'm going to do this off screen really quick and I'll be right back. The red stamped driveway really pops, doesn't it? I don't usually place my title at the bottom of the layout, but I think it really works here. Now I want to add a shelf for the title to sit on. Right now it's kind of just floating on the page, so I feel like it needs something to help ground it and make it feel more anchored on the layout. I had an idea. How fun would it be to create a snowbank for the title to sit on? I'm starting with this 1-inch piece of cardstock and I'm going to rip it towards me to create the snowbank. I love how the torn edge gives it that natural snowy look. To add a little bit more dimension and to tie it back to the snowy pattern paper at the top of the layout, I'm going to do some ink blending in a soft touch of blue along the top of the snowdrift. This will give it that frosty, wintry feel, like the snow's been lightly dusted with some frost. I don't own Blueberry Bushel ink at the moment, but I do have this stamping spot in Ballet Blue, which is a retired color, but I think it'll work just perfectly. And it does. That's exactly what it needed to tie it all together. Now there's a perfect spot for my title to sit on, right in the snow. I'm going to add a few more layers to the snow, giving it even more texture and depth. And I'll do this all off camera and I'll be right back. I was thinking about using this die cut of the skates. The only issue is that they are white with gold laces, and I'd rather not add any gold to this layout. So I turned to this retired stamp set and stamped the skates with Night of Navy ink on white cardstock. Then I used Stamping Right markers in Real Red for the laces and Night of Navy to add a little bit of color. I even used a blending brush to softly blend out some of the blue for a smoother look. That I stamped from the Textured Timber set with Pecan Pie ink. I wanted to repeat the brown tone in all 3 of my clusters. Now you can see I've created an L shape for my embellishment clusters on this layout, which helps keep the design balanced. I'm loving this stamp that says Play Hard, and I'm thinking about stamping it directly onto the log round. While I think about that, I want to add a little more grunge to the page. I have the elements of text set here, and I'm really drawn to the splatter stamp. The Snowy Wonder stamp set also has a snow-like textured stamp I'm going to use on the snow piles I created along the bottom of the layout. For the splatters, I'll use navy blue ink, stamping only around the bottom of the pictures, starting behind this photo and then working a bit onto the other side. I'm only stamping on the white cardstock. Yeah, I like that. I'll add a bit more to the other side of the layout. Then for the snow, I'm going to use Ballet Blue again, randomly stamping throughout the snow hills, rotating the stamp as I go. So back to the pictures. I really couldn't be angry with the boys when I came home from work that day. I was surprised when I turned down our driveway to find them skating right in front of me, heading towards the house. And if you look closely at the smaller picture, you can see that we actually have a really long driveway. So when I pulled over to talk to them about how unsafe this was, especially since they were home alone, Aiden, my oldest son, assured me that they were being very careful. He even made his little brother wear a helmet. And he also told me not to worry because they weren't wearing their good skates. What can I say to that? Now to help tell the story, I think it would look great if I add a path in the snow. I have this stamp that's supposed to be stamped behind a plane, like a flight path. I tried it out first on a scrap piece of paper to see how it would look, but I think it would look fun to use as the boys' skate path. I'm thinking I'll stamp two next to each other to represent both feet, leading right up to the skates on the layout. Yep, I'm gonna go for it. I think that's really cute. Off camera, I typed and printed my journaling on white cardstock. Then I cut it into strips and I attached it to the layout. I didn't have room in that spot to mention that I took the pictures from my car while I was driving down the driveway, so I thought it would be fun to tuck it into the snow pile. I'll rip it and ink blend it and I'll attach it in. This is coming together really nicely. Sometimes when you have an idea, it doesn't work out. I stamped play hard on the log round, but I didn't like it. I stamped this sentiment that reads, "Warning, extreme need for speed," in red on white cardstock instead, and I fussy cut it out to place on top. You know what? No one will know. To add just a bit more green throughout the layout, I'm using Granny Apple Green adhesive dots in 3 different sizes, arranged in 3s within my clusters. I haven't had this pickup tool for very long, but it's fantastic for picking up these dots. So that's it. I'm calling this done. I didn't end up using any of the sprigs in my clusters after all, but I'm really happy with the way that they turned out. I like the simplicity of this layout. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with your crafty friends. That really helps me out a lot here on YouTube, and I really appreciate everybody's support. Be sure to check out my still shots over on my Instagram for more inspiration. And here's a video I think you'll like next. Happy crafting, and I'll see you in the next one.